What's good, Hadji? How are you, man?
Yo, man, I'm good. How you doing?
Good to hear, bro. Good to hear. I'm doing well. So usually how I start my interviews off, I usually, ask, the artist, the visual artist or the creative artist. I usually ask them, where they're from, what they're about. But, I'm kind of going to put a little spin on this one. I want to
Hi.
ask how you're doing. Like, how are you doing physically, mentally? How is everything going on in your life? Like, where are you at in your career? I'm genuinely want to hear about it. Just
Cool.
you put out a ton of music, and I went through your catalog this past week, and it's unbelievable, man. But yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So I'm exhausted right now. I'm gonna be honest. This is a crazy month for me. I'm going to LA next month, and so in advance of that, I've been like jumping around, just trying to get everything ready that I can. So I've just been like helping a lot, like tutoring a lot of kids, like just making a little bread on the side, all that stuff. And like babysitting. So today I had like a full day of babysitting. I just tutored a kid on Zoom, and now I'm jumping out here. And in the meantime of all that, I'm also shooting visuals for my whole next project. And so it's a 4-track project, and we're one video in. So I have 3 videos left to shoot this month before April 1st. And before then, I'm also doing 2 features and like collab songs. And so both those songs have videos that we're also shooting this month. So I have 5 video shoots coming up before the end of the month. And so
Damn.
I'm like running around like a madman. So I'm pretty exhausted. It is also like kind of exhilarating. So I'm having a pretty good time. Just trying to like get into that like sleep schedule, rhythm kind of stuff. But yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, staying busy is good, and I'm glad that you're doing well. That you're going to LA. That's sick, and working on your next project. That's definitely one of my questions I wanted to ask you about.
Mhm.
One thing I wanted to ask you where you're from.
Yeah, I'm from Queens, New York.
Queens, New
Born
York.
born and raised here right now, chilling.
Awesome. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's sick. Coming from Queens. I'm from Philadelphia. I actually
Nice. I
saw.
went to Penn, so
I was
yeah.
about to say that. I was,
Word.
what is it like? What was it like what is it like being a Penn grad, but you were super focused on music and, you got out of school and you're
Yeah.
like, music's my path, music's my energy, what is it like being a Penn grad and, you're in the music industry now?
It definitely surprised me how many more musicians I know went to Penn than like I expected. There's a lot of artists, even like big artists that I don't personally know. Like I've learned that they went to Penn. Like Alexander 23 went to Penn. I had no idea that Alexander 23 went to Penn. So like I just like have been finding out more and more people. It's like such a big school with a powerful network. So like it's like surprises me a little less every time. But yeah, when I was there, I went in like I was very much like like an overachiever, like straight A kind of high school student. I didn't really think a lot about what I actually wanted to do. And my only focus was like, I'm going to get into the best school that I can. And that was Penn. So I ended up going there, and I got there and I was like, man, like, I don't really want to do any of these like traditional career paths. Like a lot of my friends were into the business program at Wharton, or like we're doing consulting or like all that kind of stuff. And like, none of that really grabbed me. And I realized that like I had been spending a lot of time like doing all this like box checking kind of stuff, and I hadn't really like gotten into my creative side as much. And so being in that environment where everything around me was very like pre-professional and kind of like in that world, like it pushed me towards like a more creative output. And I had been making music in high school too, but I wasn't taking it particularly seriously. And so I started taking it a little more seriously like in college. And it was maybe about like around my senior year that I finally started to make stuff that I was like okay with like being out. But it definitely took me coming back to New York before I really found my sound and all that.
Yeah, that's
But
yeah.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was
not
reading an
good.
article. I was reading an article about you, and I saw that you were kind of behind the closed door. You didn't want to have your music out there in the world because I don't know how you felt. Maybe it was because you didn't want people to hear what you were making. Maybe you didn't think people think it was good enough. I do know that you graduated in 2017, and then
Mhm.
how do you say the song Hagi Bar? I'm saying
Harajuku.
Harajuku. Yeah, sorry.
Harajuku. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're good.
Harajuku. Yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable song. I mean,
Thank you.
that came out in 2018. So you
Yeah.
were in 2017. You were really behind closed doors. You didn't want to get out in the world that you could make music. And a
Yeah.
year later, you're making a song that's mainstream. So I thought that was really a cool story. And honestly, listening to your catalog, that is definitely one of my favorite songs on there. Telescope, and then 46 and Bliss on your last album
Thank
is
you.
also not 46 and Bliss, sorry, not on your last album, but
Probably 40, 49. The titles are
yes,
really similar.
yes.
Yeah. We made those on the same day too, so it was funny.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are like really good songs, man. And it was crazy to see that. And that's what my question was going to be. You told me you're making music in high school. I was
Mhm.
curious because if you started making music in college, or did you start making music, when you were younger? And that's why you were
Yeah.
kind of worried about what people thought of what your music was like. And,
So yeah,
uh,
I mean, I can tell you about that. Like in high school, I was like, I had a mixtape in the 8th grade. It was so bad that I like deleted all evidence of it, and I can't even find it. It's like too bad because like I kind of want to hear it to laugh at it, but I was way too good at like deleting it, so it's gone. It's gone for good. But yeah, so I started out like just rapping. Really, like all I did was rap. I was kind of boom bappy, and I was continuing in that sound. I was always into like multiple genres, but I just didn't know how to make other music. Like growing up, like in New York, especially, like I grew up listening to hip hop a lot, and I knew like the process of making hip hop because you see it's like very visual. Like oh, you go to the studio, you get the beat, you record, you do that, right? I didn't know about like how I could write full songs. I was a piano player, but I didn't really know how to produce. I didn't know how to like do all that extra stuff. And like I always wanted to make music that was jumping genres. I just didn't really like understand how. So my first place into it was rapping. And so I was doing that for a little while. When I was in college, I really was still just like continuing to do that. And it was around then that I started to like sharpen my sound a little bit. And then I started to bring melodies in. I would say probably like my junior, senior year of college is when I first started like trying to sing. And at first it was a little rough, but I kind of figured it out. And so that's really what I spent like 2017-ish doing was like figuring out like how to use my voice in different ways so that I can really craft like a full song. And
that's
so
awesome.
that's like when we made Harajuku in like, I want to say April 2018. And I had some music that came out before then, and I was just kind of building up towards that. Like I was really starting to like, find my voice. I was working really super closely with this producer, Mike Ross, who still like has produced a bunch of my stuff. He produced my entire next project too. Just another kid from Queens. And so we kind of like figured out my sound together. And it was from there that we were able to build off from that.
That's such a sweet story, dude. Like, I wasn't really into pop music ever, and actually, I guess it was a year ago, right around this time, or maybe a little bit, maybe like less than a year ago. I
Yeah,
saw before I worked for Burbs, I saw Burbs interview Poppy Chulo Tige,
my
and
guy.
dude,
He
he's
was on my
actually
couch like 2 weeks ago. That's my guy,
well,
man.
it's crazy because he's actually the one that kind of got me into liking pop music. I don't know, growing up, I was listening to rap, hip hop. I was
Yeah,
listening to rock, like from my dad, and
same.
I just never really. I thought pop was kind of corny. I don't know. And then
Yeah, I feel that.
I really started to dive into it, listening to like Papi Chulo. I listen to all his music all the time. I talk to him all the time too,
He's the goat.
dude. He's and then listening to your music and all other artists, and now I'm really appreciating more and
Yeah.
more that I get into understand music. I've dove in deep into different types of genres, and
Mhm.
pop has honestly grew on me a ton, and as your music has also.
Thank you.
uh
Yeah.
and of course, dude. And like you keep talking about visuals, it seems like a huge part of your music
Gigantic.
creation,
Yeah.
which is sweet. Tell me a little bit about that, and if you have any favorite film directors, or do you direct your own music? I don't know.
So I work. I've worked with a couple different videographers who have been great, but I've especially worked with my guy Adam Ginsberg, also a Penn grad, and we over like the last year or so, especially, have like developed a really good working rapport. I mean, I don't really know who's director and who's producer or whatever. We kind of work that stuff together, but really, like the workflow that I have with him is I come with like I make a song, I have an idea, and I come to him and I'm like, all right, this is my idea. I don't know anything about shots and what kind of camera and what kind of angles and what kind of space we need. But how would you take this idea that I have? Like for Runner's High, for example, when I was like, I want to get chased through the woods with a samurai sword. So I bring that to Adam, and Adam's like, all right, I feel you. Let's get a drone so that we can do wide shots. And that's shout out to my homie Abby, who always holds the drone when we do those. She's also the goat.
Fire.
And so was like, let's get a drone. I have these swords. Like, let's shoot it in this way. Let's use this as a reference. Sometimes I bring a reference video. It's usually a music video, but I do like, sometimes think of like scenes from movies. For like the telescope video, Adam was super into the editing in Fargo, which I've never seen, so I don't know. But he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna do this Fargo split screen shit. It's gonna be crazy, right?" And he gets like, he's a lot like me, how I am with the music, where I'm like, "Oh, I want to take this idea and just use this and like kind of bring it. I want it to sound like this meets this meets this, right?" He has that same kind of like energy for visuals. He's also a great musician and a producer too, which is cool. But when I work with him as a videographer, like he's always like, "This is what I want to try. I'm gonna do this, that, and this. This makes me so excited, And it's really fun to work with somebody who has that kind of energy as well. I think when I think of like references for other um, visuals and like really thinking about, who makes what and how they set up a TV. I would just watch TV for the entertainment. I wasn't thinking from that angle until really like this year. And I had a lot of time to watch TV during quarantine too. So it was like when I watched like the entirety of The Sopranos, and I was just like analyzing like, yo, they went from here to there. Like, oh, like she's wiping blood, and then it cuts to a scene of like his wife like wiping the table, and it's like all the editing is like super like subtle and cool, and like that's what really got me into it. But I think other like especially like music directors for like videos and stuff, I think of like Hiro Murai, who does a lot of the Childish Gambino videos. Those are a lot of my favorites. He's awesome, so that would be a good reference.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's great. And then the other thing is, other than visuals, your cover arts.
Yeah.
I tend to see a lot of artists kind of, some cover arts get boring, some get unusual. Yours has been delivering since day one. I've been intrigued by honestly all of them that I went through. What is your process to cover arts? Is it
So
during the song? Are you thinking about it? Is it before the song? Is it after? How do you kind of go about it?
So with the Purgatory songs, like each of the single arts, like I asked, it's a different Adam, this guy Adam Reed, who I also went to Penn, and he's the guy who does a lot of my visuals. We've also made some music together. He's a super talented designer, and so I asked him, I was like, yo, I want to use this like kind of cassette tape box as a reference for the runner side cover. And then once he sent me the runner side cover, I was like, this is awesome, and this is like a great template for like the rest of the singles. So we kind of went from there. The funny thing about the Purgatory album cover is that we actually had a different one until like we did the Guido Miss Karma shoot, which was like October-ish. Or actually, no, we shot that video in November. So it was election day when we shot that when we shot that whole thing. And so we had an entirely different cover. And if you've seen the cover for the VHS boxes, it's like the red kind of blurry shot. That was just a shot from one of my shows in January, and I always really liked it. So I saved it, and I was like, oh, this feels like an album cover. And that's what I was planning on using as the cover. So when I made the VHS boxes, I had already ordered them, like with that cover, thinking that was the album cover. And then when I saw how cool the makeup looked for the Purgatory shit, I was like, I need to make this the album cover. So I just got Adam to just shoot me looking super creepy, and we just went with that.
No,
Yeah,
it was dope.
we kind of winged it.
I loved it. I loved it. Like, I don't know. I feel like some people would, if someone were to think about doing that, they'd be like, oh, I don't want to look like that. Just like the weekend, like the weekends, when that whole thing was going on, everyone was like, what the hell is going on? But I like it. I love different, the different is awesome.
I appreciate that.
Sorry about this.
No, you're good, man. No worries.
I
be like that.
No, you're good. Sorry about that. So I have one question for you. What was it like being in France and hearing your song playing in the restaurant while you're eating?
Man, that was really like just a life-changing experience. I've been really lucky to have parents who are super supportive, like what I do, and they encourage it. They come to my shows, they listen to my music and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. But that was definitely a moment where I was like, yo, if I ever needed to like extend my like, yo, I'm gonna try this musician thing, like just having that happen to me with my mom was like definitely a good thing for me to go through. It was interesting.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, it was bizarre. It was really bizarre. And it was also like kind of a deep cut. It was this song Hemlock that I have with this guy, The Second Sex, who's another super dope Queens artist. And it wasn't like, it might have been in my top 10 on Spotify, but it wasn't in my top 5. Like it wasn't one of the songs it was on an editorial in like Brazil. They got like 10 plays. And like that was it. So it was really just like kind of a deep cut. And actually like I went out to dinner with my mom and my cousins who were in France, which is why we went to visit. And we were at dinner, and this is the night before that happened, and they were playing My Friend, in the restaurant. So I sent him a video. I'm like, bro, they're playing you in France. Like, this is crazy. Like, check this out.
That's
And he was
nuts.
like, oh, that's sick. That's sick. Like, that's so cool. So that night, right, we went home. It was all normal. The next night, me and my mom went out to dinner at this other restaurant. We were standing in line, and it was just kind of crowded. And we were like, you know what? Fuck this. We're going to go to this other place across the street. So we walk into this restaurant across the street. And for some reason, they have the same management and like ownership as the restaurant that we went to the night before. So they were playing a similar playlist. So I walk in and I hear my friend again. And I'm like, yo, they were playing the second section again at a different restaurant in Paris.
They're
And
rocking them.
at that point, I was like, yo, they love the second sex so much that there is a chance that our collab is going to be on this playlist. And so I'm just sitting there eating my dinner, and bam, like before you know it, there it is. The shit just comes on. I'm like, yo, mom, like, check this out. This is me. You know, I don't know if you know this one. It's kind of new, but like, this is me. And there it was. Like, we told the waiter. Like, the waiter didn't really get English and shit, so he was just kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about, but sure.
Yeah,
You know?
whatever you say, dude. What do you want to eat?
It was cool.
I'm sitting
It
here
was cool.
freaking out. Yeah, no,
It
dude,
was
that's
really like, I don't like. It was early for me to have that kind of experience, so it was very validating. You know.
I mean, that's a milestone, dude. Like, if there was
Yeah.
something I could write down as an artist, I'm definitely not an artist. I, played sports my whole life and just loved music.
Yeah.
But that'd definitely be a milestone of hearing my music somewhere else other than my room or with my
Mhm.
friends,
It's
even
crazy.
in an Uber, like, dude, there's like things like that.
Yeah.
I got 3 fun questions for you, and
Let's go.
then we'll go into it. But like right off the top, you're from Philly. I don't know if you eat cheesesteaks, but what is your favorite cheesesteak place?
Oh, between like the Pats and Geno's, I like Ishkabibble's a lot.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Ishkabibble's is fire.
I'm a big D'Alessandro's guy, but that
I don't think I've been there. I need to next time I go
there,
back.
next time you get back to Philly, do it.
Yeah.
So I saw you have dyed your hair multiple colors. If you had to,
Yeah.
have you had to have your hair dyed one more last time and you can never change it again, what color is it?
If I was stuck with it forever, I might go with like some kind of like pink purple combo that's like kind of mixed. So I assume my hair is not gonna keep growing, so it would like stay in that short range. That would be
Stay
sick.
that range.
Yeah, kind of some
Okay,
kind of like mix of colors again, but a different one from the red and blue.
fire. And favorite movie?
Ooh, good question. This has changed a bunch. It might be like Bull Durham. Honestly, Bull Durham is a
Cool,
classic.
cool.
Yeah.
And then kind of back to the music stuff.
Yeah.
What's your end goal with music?
So
Your
I
career?
think I was just having this conversation too, so I feel like I want to take like as my artist project, like Hadji Gaviota. I want to be able to tour internationally. I want to be able to put out a few projects that are always creatively like what I was trying to do, and I understand the way the business works. So like whatever that looks like, bringing it to the biggest audience possible. Like I'm game. I want to have a couple projects like that. I want to eventually move into like executive production. I've had so much fun shooting videos that I think I also want to direct music videos as well. But I kind of want to become like, the kind of like Pharrell or like Rick Rubin kind of figure that like you have an exciting young artist, like when I'm older and when my artist days are not necessarily behind me, but aren't my priority anymore. When I've accomplished the kinds of things that I want to accomplish, touring internationally and dropping projects, I want to be someone who helps develop artists on the creative side. So I don't really know if I want to like have a label or any of that, but I want to be more of like the
Yeah,
a label would come to me and be like, we have this exciting artist, let's send them to you for a week and like see what you guys come up with, and like kind of be like an executive, like string puller kind of guy, and like really
that's
like
dope.
creative direct some stuff. I think that's really my dream.
Yeah, that's like a super good characteristic of you being able to help somebody else out that kind of
Yeah.
went through the same stage you did. And you've came a long way. What are you, right around like 21, 22, right around
I'm
there?
25 actually.
25.
Yeah, I know I got a young face, but yeah.
No, it's good. I'm 20. I'm almost 23, so it's no big deal. But that's dope, dude. You the executive producer, the executive, music guy is a really big part of the whole career of a young artist. And I think you being around all these Penn kids, you yourself being a Penn kid, who wouldn't want to be around somebody like that that's grown up and built such a good story for themselves, and
Yeah,
taking
thank you, man.
their own career path than doing checking boxes, doing their own thing.
Mhm.
um and then coming off your second album, what is the next for yourself as Haji?
So I've really been into, I guess, like world building artists. Like that's always been my favorite kind of thing. So if you look at like a Frank Ocean or a Tyler the Creator, Kanye West, Pharrell, like those kinds of guys are the people who always, made me care more about just what the music sounded like. There's artists who drop projects and I love every single one of them, but it's like if you don't build a world around it, there's a limit to how far you can go. And so what I've been pushing myself to do in like more of a modern way, because I've seen like a lot of like back in my day, like you drop an album and I would just get an album and that would be fire. Nobody wants to hear an album necessarily from me. So like, because, at my stage in this career and the way the music industry is built based on streaming and stuff like that. So what I've really been trying to do is to like figure out how can I create that world building characteristic, but still have like some kind of release schedule that kind of matches with the way the industry is running today, to maximize my ability to find new listeners and stuff. And so I've been thinking about doing this project where it's like a series of EPs and they're all kind of in the same world.
Oh,
And
wow.
so there's visual things that tie them together, and like the music might change a little bit, as I just, keep making new stuff. And basically I've done the first one. The music is done, just mixing and mastering and stuff and figuring out how I'm going to distribute it. But the music's done, we're shooting the visuals. I'm working on some of the songs for the second one, but I kind of want to build this world that, will draw people in. I think I started to do that with Purgatory, and it was in the middle of quarantine and I was still kind of figuring out what that looked like. I want to take what I learned from that and like really push things to the next level.
So I don't mean to hold you too long. Are you saying you're kind of building a storyline with all the EPs?
I suppose, yeah, you could say it's a, I don't think I want to like tie myself to like a plot or anything like that, but I want to create like a universe where like you see the next, like, I don't want to give too much away, but like there's a certain
Good, you're good.
there's a certain visual aspect that's going to be like consistent across all these videos that we're doing. And it's really like kind of creating like a character and like a world and just like going a little deeper with it than I did last time.
Gotcha. And you just said you don't want to give too much, but I did interview Squibs last week, my guy Squibs.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that you guys might have a collab coming soon.
Baby.
Could you dive into that a little bit, or
Absolutely.
It's all good if you,
So
awesome.
I'm still learning about the NFT world myself.
So am I. He's been trying to tell me about it.
Squibs has been awesome for me on the creative side for this. I mean, this is really like his project. He spearheaded it. He took the world that we made with Purgatory and he created an NFT around it that's super sick. And he also did a remix to one of the songs on the album, which is Guido Miss Karma, and he made it like it's a banger. Like it sounds like it would be played at like Berghain, like, or some like deep club at like 4 a.m. It's fucking crazy. So we have that, and we're dropping it together as an NFT. What I feel like is difficult sometimes with this NFT stuff is like there's definitely like a barrier to entry, whether it be like, because I personally tried to buy Squibs' first NFT and I couldn't because I didn't have like Rainbow Wallet or whatever the hell. I need to download some other app just to be able to get the currency to be able to buy it. And it's like, it was a super complicated process. With ours, we're dropping it on this platform called Bitski. And what's cool about Bitski is that people can buy the NFT with a credit card. So like, you don't have to worry about like buying crypto first to be able to buy the NFT. Like you will be able to own it without, cutting all the red tape. Because if I'm going to do this NFT stuff, I want to be able, to reach people who might not know about NFTs already or might not like understand it. I know like my fan base is pretty cool and smart and like stuff, but they might not have dived into this yet. So I want to come up with a way that's like, just a little more accessible. So I'm definitely excited about that front. It's a super like it just really adds to the Purgatory world. Squibs is an amazing artist, so it was super easy to work with him. And our guy Max Kolchinsky kind of like really guided us through like the business side of NFTs and how it all works. So I'm super lucky to work with them because I'm learning a lot through this process, like just like everybody else is on Twitter and the music industry and stuff,
Yeah, dude. 3 smart guys putting something really nice out, dude. I'm really excited for it too. Also, Squibs was telling me about it. And then, you told me some more information on it. And NFTs, I mean, just I think the first piece Squibs sold was sick. It was the Mark Cuban card. I was like, I didn't even know exactly what it was because I think I was talking to Squibs before about the NFT stuff. He was like, yep, I'm gonna, have my first NFT out, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. And then we dove into it a little bit when I was talking to him. But that's awesome, man. one thing you have for your platform right now, dude, you can, it's your time right now if you want to promote anything.
Oh yeah.
Thank anybody or shout anybody out. Go
I
ahead.
definitely want to shout out. I want to shout out Squibs and Max and Matt for helping us put together the NFT. I want to shout out Teach for his awesome music, and I also want to thank everybody who helps me on my music, whether that's Abby, Jerome, Adam, Ash, Kyle, like anybody who's a part of this. And then to give you guys a preview of what's coming. My EP, I don't know exactly when it's going to start rolling out, but it should be pretty soon. In the month of March, I have 3 collabs dropping, so I'm excited. We're gonna keep the music going. I've got a song coming with Mako, who's another really dope artist, on the 17th. On the 19th, I have a song coming with Low Effort, who's like been one of my best friends since like middle school. He plays live guitar in my band. He's super sick. And then on the 24th, I'm dropping a collab with this artist, She Loves Boone. It's another Queens kid that we grew up with together, and it really feels like a real homie, like, kind of experience. And I'm super excited for both of those songs, all 3 of those songs to come out. But yeah, I'm really just going to keep my foot on the gas kind of shit. That's what we're on.
Good shit, Hadji. Yo, dude, I'm excited for your career, bro.
Thank you,
keep
man.
pushing, and I'm already locked in, and I'm going to be tapping into all your music, and I appreciate you coming on, man.
No, thank you for having me, for real.
Of course, man.